Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Waves of Healing. We are dedicated to communicate to you and provide you with information of being aware and keep open mind to alternative ways of healing, whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual. I am your host, Leah Yekutiel, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California, every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. I'm a reconnective energy healing practitioner, breast cancer victor, not victim, and the author of the book, Making the Breast of It. In order to learn more about me and my book, please visit my website at www.ilovemybreastcancer.com. All in one word, ilovemybreastcancer.com. And just a second, I think my guest is here. Let me just say hello to her before we continue, okay? Holly?
Hi, Leah. How are you?
I'm great. I mean, in the last minute, I was able to get on. I left you a message, but hold on a second. I just wanted to say hello to you.
Yes,
to
great.
Let you know that I am on.
Great.
So, and I'll bring you in a little bit later, okay? Thanks so much. Anyway, my website is ilovemybreastcancer.com. And please visit my website. And while you are there, please purchase my book and give a gift of love to somebody you love who went through breast cancer, where they can reclaim their femininity after mastectomy or breast cancer and learn how to rebuild their self-confidence living with one breast or none, and learn how to accept the new image and love it. And one other thing that is very, very important, they would realize that sexuality exudes from inside out and not from outside in. And the most important thing they would learn is through the many exercises in the book, they would learn how to connect with the spiritual aspect of life, where they realize that we women are not only our breast, and neither we are only our body in order to be able to function as a sexual being. So with that said, I would like you also to go visit my website and download for free 25 breast health tips. And when you do that and apply few of them into your life, you'll be surprised how many cancers, how many diseases or breast cancer we can prevent. And with that said, I would like to tell you who is my guest today. My goodness, I'm so excited, Holly, that you are a guest on my radio show.
Thank you.
My guest today is Holly bellebuono. Did I pronounce it correctly, Holly?
Yes, bellebuono. You got it.
I've been working on it the whole day.
You got it.
Okay, thank you. Holly is the author of Woman Healers of the World. Holly also directs the award-winning apothecary. What is apothecary?
It's a store that sells herbal medicines.
Oh, it's the name of a store. Okay. Apothecary. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apothecary.
Okay, let's start again. Holly directs the award-winning apothecary Vineyard Herbs and Teas and Apothecary on Martha's Vineyards, and also bellebuono School of Herbal Medicine, where she trains and certifies community herbalists. She lectures around the country to audiences about natural health, herbal medicine, and women's empowerment. In this Holly's third book, Women of the World is listed as the main selection of the National One Spirit Book Club and can be purchased at vineyardsherbs.com. It's an intimate and inspiring Women Healers of the World celebrates 16 different healing traditions, conventional medicine, pharmacology, ethnobotany, am I pronounce it correctly?
Ethnobotany,
Ethnobotany, herbalism, homeopathy, flower essence practitioners, shamanism, nursing, midwifery, conservation, and more. The book culminates with a chapter on handcrafting traditions, offering hands-on recipes for remedies inspired by the women in the book. Oh my goodness, I'm excited. I'm so excited that you the guest on my show, and I welcome you since I believe that you have to add to my listeners. So welcome to Webs of Healing, Holly.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for writing this exceptionally beautiful, inspiring book. I mean, this is not a book. This is encyclopedia about the healer.
Yeah. It has 31 women from 20 countries and 16 healing traditions.
Wow.
So it is rather encyclopedic.
Incredible. So let me ask you this question. What brought you to do this really big project?
Well, it's a work of passion. It's a labor of love, really. I started in 2008, so about 7 years ago, because I've always loved plants and working with plants, and have been an herbalist for a couple of decades now. And the more I learn about plants, the more I learn how important women have been in the promotion of that heritage and learning how to use the plants. And a lot of women share their knowledge and raise up the next generation and mentor and support and learn and research, but they don't always get the credit. They don't get named, they don't get recognized for that work in chemistry and science. And I really wanted to honor them and celebrate them, really. So, I wanted this to be a book that brought to life the stories of these women from around the world so that people could learn some of the names and faces of the people who were doing this work.
How did you find them? I mean, you traveled all over the world, and how did you identify them to interview them and write all their stories?
Mm-hmm. I did get to travel a little bit. I didn't go to every place, but I got to meet about half of the women in person. And it grew very organically. I started with the women I knew in the herbal circles that I was familiar with, different herbalists, and then would tell my project to other people, and they would say, "Oh, well, do you know this ethnobotanist from Ecuador, or do you know this Gaelic pharmacist in Scotland, or do you know this woman who started an orphanage in Peru? And I would be introduced to these women and find them and follow up with them and get their stories and learn about their work. And so it grew very naturally like that.
This is fantastic. You know, when you do something that it's right, the universe brings all these people to you.
It does. It definitely does. Yeah,
I have noticed in my life, you know, when you are on the right path and you do the right thing at the right time, I mean, things happen just like that, so easily, just incredible.
I really feel like I was in the right place at the right time. This was kind of an idea that germinated ages ago, and I've been working on it slowly ever since then, and it feels like it was born, you know, like I birthed it into the world, and I'm so glad to be able to celebrate these women and bring this information to people, because a lot of people aren't aware of it, or they didn't put two and two together, and it's empowering for women, especially young women, who want to enter herbalism or become a nurse or, you know, enter healing. It's information that they need to know. It's part of our heritage, and unfortunately, not many people are given the opportunity to study it.
It seems to me that this healing tradition that we grew up with for generation and generation, it's been dying out, and you bring them back in. Am I understanding it correctly?
Well, sometimes I feel like it's a cycle. I think we have a lot of cycles in our lives, and I think the study of herbal medicine might be one. It seems to come and go in popularity. Sometimes it's very popular, and people are free to study and experiment and use herbs and heal themselves the way they want. And then for political or other social, cultural reasons, it goes underground. And it's never been wiped out, thankfully. It always comes back. And I think it's important to recognize that history, because the knowledge and the pursuit of that knowledge has been persecuted at different times.
Yeah.
And the people who practice it have been persecuted, forcing it underground, but it always seems to come back. It rejuvenates, which is really reassuring to me.
Because we are going back to the roots.
Exactly. Exactly. It's folk medicine. It's people's pharmacy.
The pharmaceutical companies are in business to sell us products.
Right. Whereas herbalists are in business to help other people, and really even more than that, I think, to establish connections, to help people connect with nature and with the natural world. I think that's really the key.
Yeah. Going back to Mother Earth and appreciating Mother Earth and getting in touch with Mother Earth.
Exactly. It's much more than selling a product. It's about establishing connections, and that's part of what I teach my students in my herb school, is the priorities of working with a client. When someone comes to you seeking help, I have a 3-tier priority. One of them, or the first one, is to show respect. You always want to respect that person who has come to you looking for help or healing advice. And the second one is not necessarily to fix a problem or heal an illness. It's to establish connections. And I think by connections, you know, you can think of connections to the natural world, connections to other healers, connections to family members. There is often a lot of emotional stuff going on with different illnesses, and those connections are so powerful and so important that they really need to be addressed and understood even before you get into which herb does what in which body system.
And it seems like you know the whole thing. How long have you been working with the herbal medicine and all this kind of stuff?
For about 20 years. I started in the early 90s as a gardener and a landscaper. That's how I started learning about plants, and quickly understood that wild plants could be food, which was a surprise to me. I never really thought about eating weeds before. But working as a gardener and landscaper, I met people who taught me that there are wild plants like wild lettuce and lamb's quarter and plantain and nettles and red clover that are weeds. You know, we consider them wildflowers by the roadside, but they're actually very nutritious and edible. And then from there, it was just a short jump to realize that they could also be medicine. And that's what really grabbed my imagination, and I love the idea of using plants to heal your body. It just makes perfect sense to me.
Perfect sense to me, too, as well. Now, Holly, there are men also who are healers and herbalists, and you focus particularly on women. Is there any particular reason for that?
There are definitely men who are herbalists, and they do a wonderful job, and they're very much needed and appreciated. The reason I focus on women in this book was because I don't feel like there are enough women who are recognized in science and chemistry and botany. You know, I can think of offhand, I can think of Hippocrates and Galen and Darwin and Lister and Linnaeus and all these men who are, you know, we learn about them in high school and college, and they did wonderful things, but when I try to think of a long list of women, I wasn't able to. You know, I came up with Marie Curie and Florence Nightingale and Elizabeth Blackwell, and that was about it. And so I really wanted to seek out the women who are in these same professions, and they put in the same kind of work, and they succeed in the same amazing ways, but they're not in our history books. And I really wanted to showcase those women and celebrate them, especially for teenagers and young women, you know, in their 20s who are just getting inspired and trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives. They really need these role models. I think it's all about role models, that if you have someone that you can admire and respect and look up to who is successful and professional, then it's encouraging for you to do the same thing.
This is wonderful. I mean, you do a really wonderful job.
Thank you. I'm really happy with how the book came out.
I know it's so you know, I had people coming in, and it's the book is sitting on my coffee table, and I want to emphasize that it's coffee table book, and with all these beautiful photos of all kind of all these women, and you have recipes there. I mean, I people want. So how can you give us your website where people can get in touch with you, learn more about you, order your book? I understand you also have a DVD, right?
I have audio CDs. It's not a DVD like a video. It's audio.
I see.
Yeah, so you can listen to it in your car or something.
Okay.
And it's at, my website is vineyardherbs.com. I live on Martha's Vineyard, so it's VINEYARD herbs.com. And I run an apothecary here, which is an herbal business. I sell lots of homemade products. I handcraft with plants that I harvest myself. Salves, tinctures, liniments, syrups. I sell a number of teas. I do a whole range of really fun, wonderful, healing herbal products. And then I also run an herbal school, so people who are interested in learning more, especially about formulary and how to put herbs together in blends and make things with them, you can enroll in a distance program. You could be anywhere in the country if you wanted and do it at your own house, or you can come
you mean
here to the
online?
vineyard.
Classes
online? Yeah.
Oh,
I have an online
wonderful.
program. And then I also do training and certification programs here on Martha's Vineyard in the summer, which is a beautiful place to be in the summer.
Wow. I'm thinking to coming to visit you, Holly.
Oh, good.
The only problem I have, I don't have land to play with it.
You mean to grow plants?
Yeah.
You know what? You can do it so easy. If you have a little deck or even just a windowsill, there are certain herbs called pot herbs that grow really well just in a small pot, and you can snip off the leaves as you need them. One of them is nettle. Others would be calendula. Calendula makes a great pot herb. So does sage and rosemary. And even if you just have a tiny little pot on your windowsill, if you get a little bit of sunshine, you can use these herbs for making teas and for making oils or vinegars or honeys. And they are so helpful in healing, and they smell wonderful. So you don't need a lot of land. You can get involved with plants in a very simplistic way that's still very meaningful.
You know, I did have two kind of plants, rosemary plants.
Mhm.
And it was sitting by the window, really, as you said, and they died on me.
Oh, no.
And I'm very good with plants.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it has to be really outdoors. I don't know. This was indoor in this case, so they died on me. I do very well with other plants, but those died. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Anyways, so let's go back to your book. Can you tell the listeners, including me, some of the traditional specialties that you found among those women whom you interviewed?
Mhm. Well, there were 16 different traditions that I featured in the book, and some of them were your pretty standard midwifery, herbal medicine, pharmacology, working with plants from a modern medicine perspective. But others were really intriguing and kind of different, like flower essence practitioners. Working with flower essences is really kind of more of a spiritual undertaking, more of an energetic use of the plants. And one of the women who is a flower essence lady that I talked with was Kate Gilday, and she lives in the Adirondacks in New York and makes flower essences based on the plants that grow around her in the Adirondacks. And also she uses chaga, which is a mushroom. Mm-hmm. And she's actually working with these plants and with this mushroom not only for flower essences but also for cancer and people who are dealing with very long-term chronic illnesses. So she's a lovely, lovely woman and a wonderful part of my book. Some of the other ones, for instance, I interviewed the Princess of Jordan. She's included in the book. Her name is Princess Basma bint Ali, and she is included for conservation because she took a passion of hers. She was very passionate about plants and learning about the plants that grow in the desert of Jordan, and remarkably, there are a lot. You know, you wouldn't think there really would be in the desert, but there are a lot. And she established the first royal botanic garden in the entire country.
Oh, wow.
So she created a habitat for these native plants, and she's created a venue where the public can come in and learn about native plants and trees. It's a research center now, and she's helping to bring back species that have been threatened or at risk. So her work was very fascinating to me.
Oh, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. You see, that part of the world, they were really healers, and they knew about plants. I'm talking many, 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 many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So they are more exposed to this kind of healing versus the Western society.
It's really part of their ancestry. They really recognize that a lot more than Westerners do. It's fairly new to us. I mean, it's really not, but we think of it that way. we don't embrace it as part of our heritage as strongly as some of these European or Oriental or even African countries, partly because they still embrace it today in many ways, whereas the West has sort of dropped it. And so it's really nice talking with women. One of the women I spoke with was from Gabon, Africa. Others are from all around Eastern Europe, and they embrace it. They love it. They still cherish it. It's something that resonates with them very deeply, and they're certainly not going to let it go.
Don't blame them. And this is a wonderful thing to understand that, we came from Earth, and the Earth is part of us, and we have to embrace it and to have respect for it, and use it. You see, I believe that if God gave us life, He also gave us the nature in order to sustain ourselves. Mm-hmm. And the food should be healing.
Absolutely.
Food should be healing. Yeah. Because that's what God gave us. I mean, would God make a mistake?
People don't, people don't seem to equate that the food that they eat can make them sick. I run into a lot of that. People still aren't aware that something that they eat can do bad things to their bodies. They haven't made that connection. So it's really important, like you said, to eat healing foods and things that are good for you, because that's how we build ourselves and that's how we strengthen ourselves.
That's right. Definitely. No, not with GMOs that they're taking over. And I read so many bad things and people are dying. This is so sad. Instead of going to the Mother Nature and doing whatever you are doing in order to help people, to heal them, and here the Monsanto comes here and destroy us.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
But there are so many people out there who are doing good, the opposite of Monsanto. They're reaching out, and working with the plants and bringing people and nature together, and it's a very positive thing. And so I hope that people feel encouraged, because there's so much creativity and imagination out there, and so many different ways you can get involved and connected. It's just unbelievable the number of things you can do with herbs that are helpful for you or helpful for others, and you can really find your path that way. Yeah.
And I think your book and what you are doing with your school and everything else that you are involved, you're opening up people's eyes. Hey,
I hope so.
There is another way to heal ourselves. Am I right?
Oh, well, I think plants is the best way, but I'm biased. There are so many ways. It's wonderful, the options that we have. But yeah, plants are a great way, and so hopefully this book will be a good eye-opener, as you said, so that people can realize all the different good things that come about through herbal medicine.
Okay, Holly, we have 60 more seconds to go. And I would like to mention your website again so people can go and visit your website and learn more about you and about your school and about everything else.
Great. So I'm at vineyardherbs.com, VINEYARD herbs.com.
Thanks so much, Holly. I really appreciate your time. And I encourage all the listeners, please go visit Holly's website. You will learn so much. It's just incredible how much you can learn.
Well, and thank you, Leah. I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate the work I appreciate you and the work that you are doing, and this is the really eye-opening. And thanks so much for being a guest on my radio show.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.